Are your Excels hard to navigate? Do you see other people's Excels and ask yourself, why are their Excels so easy to navigate? This video is for you. Welcome to PSG's How to Structure an Excel Workbook Like a Pro. This video is split into 3 sections. The first covers why structure matters. The second is on the types of structure you can use, and the third is a more practical section on the tools you can use to implement your chosen structure. So, diving into the first section, why do we care about workbook structure? Fundamentally, adding workbook structure makes it easier for any user, including yourself, to find things in your Excel. This is critical in workbooks of all sizes and only gets more important as the complexity of your Excel increases. Structure is important for both you, as the creator, and for the end user. Firstly, for you. It makes it easier for you to build and check your workbook. You will spend less time trying to find your tabs, making you more efficient. It will make isolating errors in your analysis much easier, resulting in fewer errors. And most importantly, it will help you keep everything straight in your head as you build your Excel, making it much easier to organize your thoughts and your Excel. Secondly, it makes it easier for the end user. It will be quicker for them to understand your Excel and get what they need from it. It will be easier for them to review it, especially important if you're building an Excel which will be reviewed by a senior stakeholder. And most importantly, structure makes it more likely they will absorb the information. You want readers to use all of their energy on taking in and understanding your great analysis, not to waste it working out where they can find what they're looking for. Okay, so now you know why it's so important, let's look at types of structure and I'll show you the most commonly used structure. There are 2 types of structure you need to know about: sheet structure and workbook structure. Sheet structure is all about the order in which you put things on a specific Excel sheet. Workbook structure, on the other hand, is all about the order in which you put the Excel sheets themselves. This video focuses on workbook structure, but I'll be bringing out a video later in this series on sheet structure, which you will be able to find in this playlist. So, how should one structure your workbook? You have a few options here, however the most commonly used structure is the data, analysis, output, visualization structure. I use this in 99% of my Excels. This structure is the most natural way to group sheets, starting with data input, going through the analysis journey to get to output and visualization. I'll quickly go through each in turn now. The data section is where you put all your raw data. 2 top tips for importing data into your workbook. 1. Always include a link to the source of the data at the top of the sheet. This will help you find it again when you need to update it in a year's time, and will also help other users understand where you got your data from. 2. Never ever do any analysis or adjustments in the data tabs. This is so that you can copy any updated data without having to redo the analysis each time. Save your analysis for your analysis section. The analysis section is where you do all your analysis and data cleaning. Need to add calculated fields? Need to bring together data in multiple input sheets? Need to clean the data? Do all of that in this section. Top tip, use notes columns throughout this section to explain what you are doing and why. The output section is where you pull all of your analysis together into a set of output tables. Think of this as the answer for your Excel workbook. Top tip, use descriptive notes and explanations throughout this section to help the reader understand what they are looking at. Finally, the visualization section. This is where you build all of your charts or create your client-ready Excel tables, which can then be screenshot and put into your decks. Top tip, make this tab as clean and tidy as you can. This is where your end user will spend most of their time. Those are the 4 core sections, but there are also some other sections which you might want to add to your workbook in specific instances. An assumptions section. This is typically used in complex models and contains sheets with all the assumptions used throughout the model. Lastly, an admin section. This is typically used in very large workbooks. This section contains the sheets with all your drop-down menus, sources, fixed assumptions, for example exchange rates, unit conversions, and repeatedly used lookups. This can be really useful. Okay, so we've covered why structure is important and the most commonly used structure. Now let's move on to the final section, actually implementing our chosen workbook structure. The main weapon in your armory is the divider sheet. These are sheets which are added between your other sheets to signify the various sections of your structure, for example data, analysis, visualizations, etc. I'll quickly show you how to set one up. First, add a new blank sheet and give it your chosen sheet name. I'm going to use data. Then add 3 arrows. This tells the reader that all the sheets to the right hand side of this sheet are in the data section of your workbook. Then, recolor the tab to a chosen section color. You can make all of these one color or change them for each section. I also like to make the sheets in each section the same, albeit a lighter color. Next, add the sheet name in cell B2. Change the color. Then resize the surrounding rows and columns. Finally, hide all the other rows and columns. Do this for each section until you have all the sections you need. I would do this at the start of setting up any workbook to help keep your workbook structured during the build phase. Another useful tool for giving structure to your workbooks is having a contents page. This is a pretty simple concept. It's a sheet at the front of your workbook which includes links to all the sections and sheets within it. Again, I'll quickly show you how to set one up. First, add a new blank sheet. Call it Contents. Next, set it up like you would all your blank sheets. Blue header row, 2 width first, 3 columns, etc. You can see my previous video where I go through this in detail. Now add a table with 4 columns: reference, name, link, description. Firstly, add all your sheet names. You can use Power Query to do this, but for now I'll just add them manually. Make sure you type them exactly as they are seen, as you will use these cells to make the hyperlinks. Top tip, I'm going to use the shortcut here to resize the width of the cells to be that of the longest cell in my selection. This is a really useful shortcut. You should memorize it now. Alt-H-O-I. Okay, now add your ref numbers for each sheet. I use whole numbers for each section and then decimal places for the sheets in each section. For example, 1.1, 1.2. Now add dummy link text in the link column and add some descriptions in the description column. Tidy it up and, as always, remove grid lines. Now we need to add hyperlinks to our dummy text in the link column. To do this, we will use the hyperlink function. This function will take the user to a specific cell in a workbook. It is made up of 2 arguments. The first is the cell location you want the user to go to, and the second is what text you want to appear in the hyperlinked cell. Here I have manually set it to link to cell A1 in my Visualizations tab. Rather than manually setting up each time, we will use our sheet names to build the formula. We need to build the formula from a combination of text and sheet references. Start by writing the formula in the cell using quotation marks around the text, and then join it using an ampersand to our sheet reference cell. Join it to the rest of the text in the formula in quotation marks. Finally, we need to add a hash symbol at the beginning to tell Excel that the sheet is in this workbook. This makes a pretty ugly link, so we'll clean this up by making the second argument link. Don't forget the quotation marks. Next, copy this formula down through the rest of your contents table. Finally, clean up the sheet by hiding the rows and columns, and then you are done. That's it! You can now use dividers and contents pages to create an easy to navigate, structured workbook ready for your analysis, just like this one. That's it for this video. The videos so far have focused on setting up your workbook like a pro. In the next video, I'll show you how to format your workbook like a pro. I hope you found this video useful. Please hit subscribe and head over to my channel for more instructional videos on a range of professional services related topics, and please do leave a comment if there is anything in particular you would like me to cover in my upcoming videos.